Let's talk about Jonah for at least a few minutes. Jonah was a prophet of the Israelites, and he was told to go on a mission to Nineveh. Nineveh is the capital of the Assyrian Empire. And the Assyrians were famous for being cruel, terrible people. So much so that when they conquered the northern kingdom of Israel, they exiled the 10 tribes, took them away, and they're never seen again. Or if you believe the Mormons, they became the Native Americans in North America, but we don't believe that. So Nineveh is the very symbol of evil for Jonah. And the last thing he wants to do is preach to them. Why? Because if he preaches, they might convert. He doesn't want to see them convert. He wants to see them punished, destroyed. So he tries to run away, and remember the story, he's on a ship. They throw him off the ship. A whale or some sort of big fish swallows him. He's in the belly of the whale for 3 days, finally spit out on shore. And that's where today's passage begins. Jonah says, okay, God, I'll go. And he goes to Nineveh. It's a huge city. Takes 3 days to get through it. He hasn't finished 1 day of preaching, and everybody is doing penance. The very thing Jonah was afraid of. In fact, Jonah throws a pity party. He goes outside the city, sits underneath a vine that gives him a little shade. And during the night, a worm eats the vine and kills it. And Jonah's furious. And God says to Jonah, Jonah, there's how many hundreds of thousands of people in that city, and you don't care about them, and you care about one little vine? Sort of saying that God is the God of everybody. Now, what is the sign of Jonah? Actually, in the Gospels, there's 2 signs. The one sign, just as Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days, Jesus was in the belly of the earth for 3 days. But that's not the one that we're here in the Gospel of Luke today. Today, it's the fact that Jonah preached in Nineveh, the worst city you could think of, and all the people converted. What Jesus is saying to the crowd, listen, I've been preaching to you, and you're not listening to me. And here, these evil people, they listen to everything I said. It's kind of like me going to downtown New York City, Times Square, and preaching. And everybody decides to become a Franciscan. First order, second order, or secular Franciscan. Not going to happen. But that's pretty much what happened with Jonah. So what message can we take from this? We're already hearing the message, but sometimes we're not ready to apply it to ourselves. How many times have we listened to the gospel and said, they really need to hear this? They, whether it be my sister, my brother, my friend, they're the ones who really need to change their lives. And we are the ones who need to hear it because we're the Ninevites. Not in doing terrible, terrible things. Very few of us in this room rob a bank. And if you do, it's infrequently, okay? Most of us are doing the same old sins over and over again. But that's why we especially need to hear that gospel. Because we can get into the habit of saying, this is the pattern. This is what I do. And so I don't have to work on it too much. And Jesus is saying, no. If the Ninevites, who were murderous, who were terrible people, convert, how much more should we, who have received so much grace?